Okay, so it's 3:33 on the 23rd, Saturday. Which I swear, every day it's just like, what will today bring? It's just so weird. Sometimes I swear, I feel like one of my things is I'm always in a hurry. Ever since I was a kid, it was always like, I'm in a hurry to get to the next thing. I don't know. Sometimes things seem so drawn out to get to the next thing. Just even right now. But I have my sights on the next step. We'll just see how things play out. And I'll tell you when I know more. But it looks like I'm going in a certain direction, but we'll see. And this morning, it stopped now. Just stopped. But the neighbor's dog has been outside barking for hours. Just barking. And it was the same bark over and over and over and over. And I kept thinking, this is like a distress bark. Or I kept thinking, I wonder if something's wrong. Because I thought that dog slept in the house, for one thing. Why is it outside and why is it barking for hours? And why is it doing the same bark over and over and over and over? And it sounded so frustrated. And it's one of my mom's friends. And so I was thinking, well, I wonder if they fell. I wonder if they're hurt. I wonder if they had a heart attack. I wonder if something's going on. But I'm sure not going to go over there in the dark. Oh, are you okay? But I'm going to tell my mom this morning to check on them and see what's going on. Because last night, right before I came down here, I was the last she was talking to that person. So it seems like it would be okay, but that dog usually sleeps in the house. I don't know. The whole thing just seemed weird. And the way the dog just kept saying the same thing over and over. And then right before it stopped, it just sounded so frustrated. Like, why is nobody listening to me? And dogs, they seem to communicate in like, kind of like Morse code. It's kind of like they have a communication that's like this Morse code of how they bark, and then also the tone. It's like the tone of how it represents itself. So I don't know. I've just picked up on this stuff since spending so much time with dogs. But the in that Disney movie, the 101 Dalmatians, when they send the message and each dog sends the message, that's real. Like, they really are communicating, they really are talking. And just because we don't understand it, and then we expect them to learn our language, that's what just trips me out. We expect them to learn our language, and if they don't, they're stupid. And we don't even attempt to learn theirs. So, I mean, that's just how upside down this world is. How arrogant and ego that the people who are running it. And you think like, well, the controllers are the ones running it, but there's an energy that goes through and ripples out. And so we have this same kind of personality traits throughout our communities, which communities are breaking down. Oh my God, let me finish this one. Since I've been up for hours, that's my fourth cup. Sometimes I just want, it's so comforting. I just want to sit and drink tea. Anyways, the communities are total breakdown. I can't even believe that. Like, I saw one where a sheriff went in to, I think he did in the, what was that person's role or title? Like DA or something of the community, like was the legal head or something of this community. And the sheriff went in, and this guy, and the whole thing was this guy was running like a brothel out of the system of who was incarcerated. So he would like have a party apparently, and his friends would get to pick who they were interested in. It seems like it was a every weekend kind of thing or something. So they would choose, like they would do all these arrests, go get all these women, then put them in their cells. Then the men would get to pick who they wanted. Then they would force the women through coercion. So either you could get out early, or they would beef up your charges. So you did what you were told, or they would do what they wanted. And so the sheriff got fed up with the guy, and I apparently there was something he would try to do to his wife or something too. I don't even know. That's the thing, is there's so much hidden dramas and hidden parts of the story. But it's community after community after community. There's another one, the one where the Riverside, I think it's Riverside County, is where the baby is missing, Jake Hero or whatever. Now the parents are both arrested, which still just trips me out when you see the picture of the woman. So these people are going on the grandma's Facebook page and pulling out pictures of the mom from a couple years ago. So right before she got together with Jake. So the person he saw that he was interested in, oh my gosh, she looked like a movie star or something. Super attractive, super like this Latin sexy looking chick, really, really pretty. And now you look at her, oh my gosh, she's overweight, she's beat down, she's all swollen, she's all bruised, and totally different from what she looked like before. Doesn't even look like, it's crazy how different she looks. But that's what happens when you get with some of these people. They completely change you into what they want, and they discard who you were. And then it is like this systematic thing of losing yourself. And now, just like all these other women who fill up in the prisons, she's going to end up going to jail for something that this guy's done, because you know she's not the one who did in this kid. You know it was him. He's got anger issues like a bitch. And then just looking at her of how beat down, like, fuck, I'd use that in goddamn court. Like, I mean, like, look what I looked like before we got together, and now look at me. It's like, obviously I was beat down, I was controlled. You know, if you didn't do what he said, you get a smackdown. It's like, oh my God. And he's so violent towards babies. And now there's pictures also of Jake. I think that's the baby's name. Or is it Manuel? I don't know. The baby Haro, the baby that's been missing. Because maybe Jake's the dad. I don't know. His name is just. But so the baby, there's pictures of him when he was younger. Looks totally normal. So I think the people who were saying shaken baby syndrome are probably right. Probably every time he cried, Dad just shook the shit out of him, threw him down. And so there's no telling what all has happened. It's probably been going on for a long time, because his dad, he can't handle little babies at all. I mean, his 10-week-old child, you know, she's born normal, and now she's got severe handicaps. So, and he's not raising them. And another one too. It's like this guy, and this is the part where it is like the county. So now more people and more people just keep looking into stuff about them. And there was a huge, what is that called? When they come in and do a big giant sweep and come in and do these arrests. The people hadn't even got up yet. He comes out in his boxers and t-shirt. She comes out in, like, I don't know, basically what I have on, you know, the pajama shorts and tank top or something. Maybe she had a t-shirt, but they both come out in their PJs and arrested. They came early in the morning, they drove through their gate, and a whole bunch of cops just went into the house, arrested them, and locked down the house. Everything is crime tape. They're searching. So there was enough evidence, enough stuff where they're like, but supposedly, last I had heard, they hadn't found the body yet. But there was a whole bunch of places they were looking, and this is a big property apparently, and there could be in a lot of different places. And there's a drain, a storm drain, or some kind of I don't know, it's not a well, but something where I guess they were looking in that. They were looking through garbage, everything. So but the thing is on the 10-week-old. So, and this was, I think it was 2018. But I don't know. I could be up on the dates. But anyways, so when he got arrested for that, and then the wife got charged too, and then she went to jail. Well, he only served 1 day. So he was supposed to get 180 days for almost killing his child. And then he gets to have more kids. It is absolute insanity. I just, it is, well, everybody who's talking about it is just mind boggled of the fucking system. Is such bullshit. Where are they protecting the kids? Like, he is able to just injure kid after kid after kid. Now, you know, of course, there's going to be death. And who knows? It could have been other ones that he's killed. So, the 10-week-old one got severely whatever, has got big handicaps, and had broken bones and everything. So then they made charges on the mom and the dad. This was his ex-wife, and so she got more than 180 days, I think. Like, she got more time than him, and then he got 180 days, and then 4 years probation. He served 1 day, and then was out. And then what probation are you? And see, it must have been past 2018 because it's happening currently. So maybe it was 2022 when that happened. I don't know. I don't remember the exact days, but because it seems that he's on probation, and then he has this other kid, and so you're not even like, what? You're not even looking out. They're not even doing anything. Like, this is the thing, is where I said these certain counties, it's kind of weird how they came in and did all this arrest, because it kind of seems like, is he some kind of informant? Like, because they're always looking for criminals so that they can use them as an extension of their system. And so maybe that's why he thinks he can get away with anything, because there's definitely those people who are the informant, and then they work for certain people in the justice system, and then they get away with whatever they do. And it sure seems weird that what all he's getting away with. So, but he's not gonna get away with shit. I mean, that's one thing too, is Donald has it in his stuff. You harm a kid, it's curtains for you. So some of these people who are going to be going down a lot harsher than it seems, and especially him. But I don't know what they'll do about this mom now. I mean, she's got her own lawyer, and I would definitely be pushing on beaten down woman syndrome, or whatever it is, living in fear of this maniac. But then, I mean, there is always a point of like, well, how far are you going to let it go before you leave? And so, I don't know, she's got to live now with her choices. Like, that's the thing. Everything is choices and consequences in life. You make your choice, and then there's an aftermath. There's the thing that plays out, and that's your lesson. So you got to learn. And things always go different ways, because you could think, well, she would have left, and she's on the run, always hiding from this guy, and maybe he finds her, does her in, and you can't say one thing is better than the other. It's the thing that you came here to play out. So whatever plays out is what you're meant to have play out. So it's like, that was what was supposed to play out, was what's playing out, because the lesson's about that. But there's same situations can be playing out different for other people, because that's what it's meant to play out. And like I said before, the universe wants everything to play out. It wants to experience every possibility. And so everything that can happen will happen, just like what's happening now. Everything that can happen will happen. There's another weird fucking case too. But so that, to me, it does some of this stuff going down is kind of to bring it to the surface, the corruption in the legal system. So it's just going to keep being just far out crazy fucking bullshit. And I want more cops with there's another one, a woman done in by an ex old man cop. He was like 68 or 70 or something. Breaks into her house and brutally attacks, assaults, and does her in. And he's an ex-cop, like. So so it's just going to keep showing more and more and more. More of that is just going to keep coming to the surface, and it's kind of like to the general populace is to get us to see, like, oh, we rely on these people, we trust these people, and yeah, that's not to say every single one of them is bad, but it's not the way we're meant to live. So we're not meant to be controlled by a group or another person. We're meant to live in our own truth, in our own independence, in our own experience, and not have this this group over us. Like I keep hearing foreshadowing, but they're not. We're not meant to live like that. So it's going to be a complete breakdown, and that's why so much of what we're going towards, it has to do with freedom, because it's letting us loose from all of the control, because all of the control has been corrupted. It hasn't been there to protect us and take care of us. It's been there to control us and contain us. And so it's been corrupted. And it just whacks me out, man. I swear to God. So today's the 23rd. So tomorrow's the 24th. And that's the day that these freaking blues believe Donald's going to croak. And they're all celebrating. They just can't wait because he's so evil and he's such a monster. It's like, it's like they cannot see any of the stuff that he is doing for what it is, because they are tainted in what they're looking through. Their view, the lenses that they're looking through, they're corrupted. And they think that they are seeing clearly, and they're not seeing clearly. And the stuff that he's taking down is the stuff we need to be taken down to set us free. And which it seems like big arrests are being made. And it seems like a lot has already been done where he has, because now he said he's heading to Chicago to do the same thing, which that place has been so corrupted. Any place where there's a lot of crime, because these people who hire criminals to create chaos and contain and control us and make us live in fear, and then it just spirals out of control. Like when you have all of these and then you keep places in poverty, you keep people this dog eat dog world, like the world's a fucking dog fight. And so you keep this tension, and you keep division. You keep it where people can't trust one another, and they don't come together, because communities that would come together would be able to keep the disease out. So they would be able to keep the intruders out if they came together. But it is yeah, I even see it kind of like the motivation to keep separation also becomes behind job security. So they're always dangling another job so that people are constantly moving, which is really weird, because people used to stay in the same place. They'd stay in the same town and stay on the same land, and they just stay there and stay there and stay there. And now they have people just moving, go over here, move over there, move here, move there. And so people are always unsettled. And now I constantly see videos of people, like, since I'm in Washington State, I see a lot of the ones that people moving to Washington State and then being like, how much they hate it. They hate it, they hate it, they hate it. And they don't like how the people are, they don't like this, they don't like that. And But it's like you're moving into different realities, and and so people are looking for something, and then they're not finding it, and then they go to these other places for jobs or whatever it is, and then they get there, and then they don't like it, and they want to leave from there, but it's like a part of the system to keep people always not connected to one another. So it keeps people in separation and division all the time. And there was something else I was going to say about the people moving into the places and then hating where they've gone to. I can't think what it was though. But you know, I get it. I've moved a lot of times in my life, and it's weird is because I moved a lot of times in my life, and other people, they've been living in the same place. They live in the same place they went to high school and stuff. And so, but now it's like a lot more people doing that, but the breakdown is showing the breakdown of the people doing that. Because I don't know, we're not meant to be lured out of our reality into another reality. And then of course we're going to feel like it doesn't feel comfortable, it doesn't feel right. And you have to completely change yourself to be able to go into a different reality. Otherwise, if you just go visit a different reality, it's kind of different than going and trying to become part of a different reality. But every place is a different reality. Even if you go to, same state, you can go to different cities, it's a totally different reality. So and we move already from reality to reality because we all live in our own reality. But each domain, each space has its own reality, and it kind of becomes the reality on the beings that are there and how they're vibrating and their desires and stuff. And that's why they try and control us so much through government, to put us under an umbrella of control so that they control our vibration. And that's kind of the difference in even with the blue and the red states and stuff. And I may be moving to a red state out of the blue state, but the blue states are going completely crazy, which it still makes me so nervous over what's about to go down on the coastline. I see more and more of these people having these prophetic dreams and stuff, crying, saying, everybody, you got to get off the coast, you got to get off the coast. In this volcano that the scientists are watching off of the Oregon coast that still hasn't blown, and they're saying it could go at any time. That's going to start a huge thing. And then all these other ones going everywhere else. See, it keeps disrupting all of everything is, nothing's stable in our landscape, which I saw another thing of this guy showing these old maps. He was trying to show like the Red Sea, like they say the Red Sea, because see, this is kind of like in the micro macro guys, is how they try to create this, like you have this over here, but then they try and make the mirror image over here. And that's what some of these people are saying about what they tried to do about like with the Middle East changing, like these people were called Hinduismers or something, and then once they came up with Indian over here, then they're like, oh no, they're Indian. So they just cause all this weird stuff. I don't even know, you'd have to go listen to these videos. But there's tons of people, which I thought it was weird when I started seeing some of these disasters, like over in Ohio, and you're looking, it's like Lebanon, and all these other places that are all these places from the Middle East. It's like, that is weird. But so there's like biblical stories or something from the Red Sea. Well, on the old maps you go over and there's a Red Sea in between where California used to be an island. So see, it used to not be attached before. And I don't even know, I think it was in the 1600s or something, this map. And so this California was like a strip of like a long island separated, and what separated was the Red Sea. And so there's and where people are saying the real Egypt is Arizona and the real Sphinx and all that stuff. So there's this whole this weird thing, but there's always because we are in this upside down. So we are in the mirror of reality. And that's what's going to flip. That's the thing that's going to flip over, where everybody who is seeing one thing is going to see something different. And that's why so many of these people's negative hatefulness has come to the surface. I mean, the way they're so hateful against this guy, and he's doing so much good stuff, and they won't just want him dead. And just to listen to him talk, it's just like, oh my God. Oh my God, I saw a couple videos yesterday and I was just like, oh my God. It really was triggering. I was just like, I couldn't believe how emotionally triggered I felt. Like, oh my God, these people are psychopaths. They are complete psychopaths. And it's so creepy. But that's what they're going to see soon in their own selves when this thing flips over and they see their own reaction when they couldn't even see what was really in front of them. And, but so in the, okay, so on the map thing, they've got this weird inversion thing going too. And so I bet now there's stuff coming out about the map. And so now, I don't even know where it all starts. The people who are in control of maps and people in Africa have become teamed up to change the map because it's not truthful on how, like, they put Africa and Greenland or something like the same size when Africa is 14 times the size of what they show us or something. Africa's huge. And there's a lot of realities in Africa. There's even, I've heard talk of, there's even a place where there's still dinosaurs, which I don't know. I'm sure there's so much place all over the place where is unexplored. And they're always finding places that, you know, that, oh, well, there's a tribe that's been here that's never, you know, never seen man, has never seen anything of the future. It just lives in its own little world. And it still lives more primitive. So I'm sure there's probably more places like that there. But the, but anyways, now Africa is fighting for its rights to be seen for its, I don't know, dominant size or whatever. And so that's one thing I saw showed like, oh, well, this is how they changed the map, was that they changed it into this, oh, wait, there was two different ones I saw, I think. Because one was showing how they changed the map. They took the real map, the flat Earth, and they wrapped it around a globe, and then that just caused a distortion. But and then the group that is in charge, they use the real map. Only they put like a plant. So you have the ice wall going around, but they put, what are those, like dill leaves or something? Some kind of leaf thing on the side. But that is more accurate. But I don't know. It still seems that they aren't putting the true sizes of places on there. And who knows if they even know the true size, honestly. And so, but there was another one that I had seen where it was talking about Africa now going with the map makers and them saying there's all this distortion, but they were saying something else about why it's distorted, and this was on the news. So I don't know, and we just know it's distorted, and they're just going to make excuses because it wasn't the same one of like, oh, well, they wrapped it around the globe. No, that was a totally different one. This one is a totally different one of why they're saying, oh, well, it's distorted because of blah, 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 blah. And like it wasn't done on purpose. It was motherfucking done on purpose. Don't fucking kid us. Like every fucking thing they do, it's done on purpose. It's not, oh, accidentally. These people have been, and look at that. That's like back in the 1600s and stuff. That's where, you know, we weren't, well, we as different souls were alive at different times in different time periods. So it's not like you can just say, well, we weren't alive, because some of us were in these different time periods. And these people, the vamps, they have been more aware of themselves throughout. Like they've been alive throughout these different realities. And I don't know if they go through shifts and go underground, or maybe they get on ships and leave for a while and come back. I don't know. Because there's been these different resets throughout time. But then then they started doing resets or something. But they couldn't reset the whole world. But there's it's like they find lands, and then the tribes, because then when they found America, and then so it seems like they were controlling Europe, and so they had different areas, even over in Russia. So they were controlling these different places. Russia pushed them out, but like there was a lot of control. Romania, Poland, like there was a lot of places, because a lot of the folklore and stuff comes from like the vampire's castle in Romania and these different places. So they had it's like they were controlling Europe, but they kept spreading like a disease. And then it's like they found America, and then when they came into America, it already had people living here. And so they had to go in and kill them in order to create their new world that they were going to make using science. But there was lots, because it wasn't even it wasn't even just the tribes, because there's the whole part of like up more in the east, but over on the west coast too, all throughout, there's these buildings that are like where people keep saying they're like Tartarian and stuff. There's buildings, and a lot of them they've used for different communities, for the Capitol and for the library. And so they'll take these different really old buildings that are built in ways that we can't even do it anymore, and they will say that they made them, and then they say that so they create them. Just like this whole weird thing about the state fair. Oh, we created all that, and then we destroyed it. Just like that is just like, okay. I mean, how stupid do you think we are? Like, you're gonna go and put all this money and make all this stuff just for a fair to go and see, like, oh, what the world could be, then go and destroy it, and then the world never gets there. Bullshit. Everything that they say is such bullshit. And then it's like, it really takes a real ignorance on our part to believe they're bullshit. And that's the sad part of this world, is you just see the mental compliancy that people are willing to give. And so they'll just become complicit into the storyline, because it's easier than to say, hey, that's some bullshit, because then they'd be a conspiracy theorist. So then everybody just, oh, well, that's what they said. Oh, that's what they said. And it's like, yeah, well, use your fucking logic, use your senses, pay attention, go and look and think for yourself what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Because these people have been shown that they are fucking liars. Like, it's all that you can say is they're fucking liars. And if you believe what they say, then you believe a fucking liar. And some of us don't like liars. So anyways, so they had these areas that were so kind of a remnants of another period of time. So that is what I said, like there's these different civilizations, these different realities, these different realms, these different periods of time, these different windows of opportunity for the soul that have all been out there to experience. And then it ends, but there's remnants, there's always remnants left. Well, they wanted to destroy the remnants or take control of them because they didn't want us to question reality. They didn't want us to question. They wanted us to believe the story that they were pushing on us. Which, you know, it trips me out too, is how many people don't believe anything. They won't believe anything you say without evidence. I want to see the facts. I want to see the evidence. I don't believe it until I see it myself. But then they will believe the Bible. Anything the Bible says, I believe it. It's like if you, like, to me, all I can see is programming and indoctrination, because that's strange. Think about how strange that is. It's really strange. Like, where's the Bible being proved? Like, what are you talking about? You'll believe anything that it says, when it's all like this, I don't know, it's like this vague translation. And the things that I get out of it is, like, is, this God character that they want to, it's like, I don't know, we're always looking for, like, well, Noah's Ark was found, well, Jesus's shroud was found, so it's got to be real. Well, I know it's real because I feel it. Well, yeah, well, your spirit's connected to something, but, you know, you got to be thinking about, what is it connected to? Because what, but but it's like these people don't understand about reading vibration and energy. It's like that part is cut off, because it's like, how can you not see that this God that you're worshiping is based on ego and division and hate and judgment? Like, how can you not see these simple facts? But anyways, there's just so much just trust into this book, but they don't trust anything else. Like, they won't trust their own senses over, oh, well, things are happening to change the world. No, it's very stuck on, no, the world's not changing. We're going to just, you know, the good ones get a rapture out and the rest of the world is going to fall apart and you guys are all going to hell. It's like, well, I don't know. To me, I see big changes happening. I see arrests, and then plus, I don't know what it, you know, like in the spiritual connection of knowing that we are in this big cycle of change. We're in this big reset of time, and we're leaving this control factor and going into this time of freedom, and in going back and connecting back to our truth, the essence of the experience, connected through nature. And so right now it's like we're connected through man and machine, and we're going to go and connect to nature. Well, some people will carry on and go through the other parts, but there's still a movement of the spiritual people who are preparing for this other experience. And so, but you can see the things happening around us. You can see things, you know, I mean, communities falling apart, big people being arrested all the time. And like, to me, it's just, and the money thing is going to change. It's like when you realize how corrupted the money is and who's the one who's been controlling and stuff, and you see them all going down, then it's like, well, yeah, it's going to change. Nope, nope, nope. Once it's changed, then I'll believe it. It's like, well, why don't you have that same restriction on the Bible? It's like, why don't you just be a little bit standoffish about that book? It's like, no, I'm going to dedicate my whole life. I'm going to sing those songs. I'm going to pray. I'm going to just have that information coming in my brain every fucking second, and it's awake. I saw somebody doing a video of like Jesus songs, and they got the same reaction as me. It's like, I'm worthless. I'm no good. I'm rotten. Jesus is the only way, and all that stuff. It's like, it's so crazy. But whatever. It's their whole thing. So the remnants of this one world, this old world, you know, if like these period of time, if it is Tartarian and the Tartarians were not just in this one area, but they were all over other civilizations, all these other beings or whatever, but there was different periods of time. So there was remnants of that. Then you have, because I don't think that those cities were having the same, the people who built those cities, I don't think were inhabiting those cities at the same time that the tribes were living, you know, like nomadic and going, like there was tons and tons of tribes, and they were living all throughout, because they were also on the West Coast, they were all through the Midwest, they were all through the Southern. I don't know if they were way up in the East where there's like, no, there was, because there's a lot of remnants. So yeah, I think as soon as they came onto the land, yeah, I think they started, because it seems that the tribes um, stay around water, because water is life. And so they're all throughout the coastline and around different bodies of water, that there was tribes everywhere. So as soon as they came over to this new land, that it would have been after a reset, because there was already people living over here. So it had already been discovered land before. So there was already people living here. Then there was some kind of reset, people died, and the world started over again. But the remnants of their world was still there. So then these people come over, they start encountering these people in the tribes, and it seems that it wasn't so hostile, because it was at first. There was a lot of people who were trying to leave the control of the crown and the church before that, because we should have the freedom to worship how we want to worship and connect to the Holy Spirit through how we feel we need to connect. And which I still don't think you need to do so much, so much decorating in order to have the Holy Spirit come in. It's like you don't have to, all you got to do is, you can be naked and fall to your knees and have the Holy Spirit come in. You don't need to do a lot of ceremony and stuff. But ceremony, back when the tribes would do ceremony and stuff, would bring in a connection or an energy. But there's also been throughout worshiping other beings or other entities or stuff. So look, there's so many. It's very convoluted. There's so much, and it's all just opportunities and stuff for souls to grow and learn. But when they came over here to discover America, and so they would have found these old buildings, they would have come across them, and so their confusion would have led back to the crown controlling the narrative. And so then they start sending over their informant, their terror, their instigators, and they would get them out of jails and pirates and stuff like that. So they would get these immoral, corrupted people to do their dirty work. So they would start sending them over. So first there was like these farmers and stuff coming, and then they started being more partnering with some of these tribes. So they come onto the coast, and there's tribes, and then some tribes were more resistant, and because they were bringing new diseases and they were coming over in ignorance, they didn't know what they were doing, they didn't know this land and stuff. And so it was like a lot of different things played out, but there was some that they were more friendly with one another. But then the crown sent over soldiers, which are just dominators of ignorance. They just do what they're told, the same as like what we have with police and the judicial. And so they came over to, well, I guess military do. It's way more based on do what you're told. And so they would come over and started warring. So the warring began in the dominance. And so, and the soldiers, they couldn't just spread the whole way. It was more of, it's more like send some, but they started their own new group. That's when this army that started before America, 250 years old army that they started, whatever, so weird. And so when they started this dominance and started taking the land and started defeating, because they had different types of weapons, because the people who were already inhabiting here didn't need or use those kinds of weapons. They were able to, I don't know, because they didn't have these things. Those people brought these things. The people who were inhabiting America at that time, and probably in Canada too, was tribes that used more, I don't know, like a slingshot would be able to knock down a buffalo, or they would surround them and then they use like sword things, or spears, kind of spears. It was way different than just, you know, these things. But then these people who came over, who had been warring all throughout Europe, came in with these new instruments that could, you know, go from a distance, and so they could start using cannons and harsher weapons and destroying the people. And it's like that. It's like that story is on repeat. The one of, what is that movie? Starts with an A. They made a part 2. And that one woman was saying that's this one tribe story in Africa. But it's kind of like every tribe's story. But these people came in and then just started destroying their world, destroying their reality, and conquering them. And then they spread throughout America, and they put, like, they implanted control throughout. There's always, every town that was made had a dominant family that had the money, and they would take the land, own the land, and have all the money, and they would run the show, and then they would have a sheriff put in place that they would have control over. They controlled everything. So they were just an extension, like the tentacles of the crown. And it wouldn't even surprise me if some of those families weren't started from these criminals. So they took these criminals and gave them money to start certain towns. But that was kind of to start the lure of control, of getting us into certain pastures. And so, but there was the whole thing throughout about dominance, that it was a totally different group. I feel certain that these old buildings was already a civilization that was already gone. And when they came in and started finding those things, but there was, maybe that was the remnants of that civilization, the red-haired giants. So maybe it was the giants that were from the Tartarian era, who lived in these giant buildings, and then they were already battling with the tribes, but they had already had a reset. They had already lost their world, and so they were not having the same, it was like, not like on the run, but they weren't living in the same kind of civilization as that they had before, because it was destroyed. And then they were living more rough, like maybe they went into caves and stuff, and then they started coming out at some point, and then they started fighting with the tribes, which some of the tribes were other colonizers from other worlds. So they were new to this world too. And so they came, and it seems like that the giants would have been more from that. Because there was a part where there was walking, but the land was connected, and then plus through portals and stuff, like the connection through the caves and stuff is different of how realities connect. So, but it seems like that there was those beings, those giant beings that were there first, and those were their buildings, and then something happened that destroyed their world, and then so then they went kind of into the ground, into hiding or something, and then other ones start coming, because even if like a group came and they were like, because there's weird shit over like stuff that is in Egypt, say, that they find the same stuff like over in Mexico or over in South America. So there was some way that there was a way of traveling. So then you think, well, was it aliens? It had ships already. So other beings that were trying to help man. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot going on throughout the period of, throughout the history of Earth, because there was all these different beings coming here. There was some that came here to take mining, so to take resources. So some came as like a stop to take resources. And that's supposedly like where the Anunnaki were here just to take resources. They weren't coming here to try and stay. They just wanted resources, but they couldn't handle the atmosphere and the vibration or whatever, so they couldn't work and do the work to get the resources they need. And that's why they created those slaves out of these animals by taking DNA and tweaking it and then making these other beings, which I knew that stuff before I ever heard the Sumerian tablets, because they told me that when I was a little kid. Like I knew that there was, I didn't know the whole thing, but I knew that Adam and Eve story wasn't right. I knew it had to do with science and some type of manipulation of the creation of these other beings. Like I knew there was more to it. And then people say, oh, what do you believe, the Big Bang or whatever? I said, it's not that either. It's a mix of all these things. But so there is a mix. There's a lot of mix of all these things. So the so the Sumerian, or the Sumerian must have been another group too. See, that was documenting things, or something that was colonizers from somewhere else. But see, it's like, it's weird because you have all these different, I don't think that the ice wall, I don't think the ice wall is there throughout all the different times. It was like at a certain point that it was there to contain the vibration. But but it seems like that it was more other beings could come. And so, because the colonizing isn't just the Europeans coming over to America. It is other beings coming from other planets or other land masses. So, but some came by ship, but also some ships came and they seemed like gods to other ones. So, see, they didn't all come by ships. So some came by boat or something, or walking. I don't know, there's been so much shifts throughout time. It's almost like Earth is, in the micro macro, essentially is just like North America. It's just like another place, another set of cities and states or something. But there's more and more and more. It's like vast out there. And so there's probably more connection, and then there was other beings coming from other places, and then there was other ones coming in on ships, and the ones on ships, they would try and help the ones that were coming by boat or whatever. And so, but that's where they started developing different tribes too. It's not all of them didn't come from the lab. that was a certain group of people that are more genetically attached to this place through their DNA, to the original people who were here, who came from the animal group and became the humans, and then they still had to continue to evolve but that's where other beings were coming and helping in the evolution of man. But there was a period of time too where they had to let man evolve its own self, and that's where we're through these different times. And see, that's where we're at, is like, how far have we gone? And it's through different lifetimes too. It's through different opportunities that we're in this condensed space. But there was different, it's like the stage clears and then a new one comes, and then they clear that stage and a new one comes. But so the tribes that weren't all like what we think of as being from here. Some came from, so these colonizer ones, but like I said, so that they came. And so it was, then the giants came and started fighting, because the giants in these certain Indian tribes, they fought, and the giants would eat the Indians. That's back in their old stories, folklore or whatever. I think it's their ancient, the stories that have been throughout, that passed on. And so, and there's these mounds that have been found over like in parts of the Midwest and stuff like that. And I think kind of in the lower east coast is the mounds where a ton of giants were buried, because there was these big battles. But it seems that they became outnumbered. But back when these big buildings were built with these giant doors and stuff, it seemed like that they were very, it was like a different culture. It wasn't barbaric. They lived like very civilized. And then something happened, and then they, so then it seems like that they, recessed, went and hid out into caves or something, and then there was more tribes, and then they came out from the caves, and they were more barbaric then, and then there was fighting. Like, there's always been fighting. People could never get along with people who were different. I think that's why they tried to build so much on division of notice what's different about you. Notice what's different about you. But it's what's different about you is what you're here to experience. That's all. It's different. And so then, they sent over the soldiers to try and control it, and then they just went through this mass extermination and imprisoning people and killing off their offspring and killing off women, and it got worse and worse and worse, because it was like the more the people who had the army behind them, the more power that they got, and the more advanced they became, the more criminal they became, because then they would take people and sterilize them and stuff, so that they couldn't continue to procreate. They couldn't grow as their group, because legitimately Earth is a lot of different civilizations that have been here trying to make it for a long time. And so that is, and that, is where we all come through our different attachments and our different DNA. And I don't even think it's just like one. I think we've been born into a whole bunch of different ones. I think that's a part of this containment of the ice wall, is like the Earth rotation of reincarnation was so you had opportunity to gather all these different periods of time into your structure, because then that would advance Earth because of the compassion and empathy you would gain by being in every different situation. And so it was like the advancement of Earth through the beings on Earth. And you know, there's like this weird period of time that keeps popping up in my thing, and it is like the 1600s or something in Europe, and these people who like were the crown and stuff, these people were nasty. Oh my God. In the period of time through what is that STD, one that starts with an S, syphilis. Oh God. Before they figured out antibiotics, they which there, I would imagine there was probably some kind of natural thing, because any disease has some kind of natural antidote. But they there was a period of time when they killed off all of the people who called them witches or whatever, all the people who knew how to be more connected into the witch doctors, the different herbal, the ones that understood and could help people with plants and stuff like that. So they killed them off, and then but before they had created antibiotics. And so syphilis, oh my God, it would eat people up. Like, it would eat your face. It is gross. It would eat your brain. Oh, but what do parasites do when they live off of you? And everything is some kind of a parasitic kind of a bacteria or whatever. So, but back in this period of time where, in this video, it's a whole bunch of part series, but the wigs and stuff, God, this is so disgusting, because they didn't just have lice, they had maggots and stuff, and the wigs were made out of horsehair, and they smelled really bad, and so they would put all this powder and arsenic and all this, everything that they did was poisonous. So everything that they would do was poison, and it's like they didn't know any better. It was like such a period of time of ignorance and just filth. They were so fucking filthy. Then like they would be eating, and maggots would be falling down out of their wigs and off their hair. Their hair was all falling out. They all had diseases. That's what they put on all that makeup, was to cover up all the sores and stuff. Then they started putting on fake moles or whatever. So they put this real white skin, and then they would put these black mole things so that they could cover up all of the sore and decay of their skin, and they smelled really bad, and they were filthy. Their clothes were like rotting off of them. It was disgusting. And just thinking, you know, these people were the ones that were in control of the peasants, and they were just nasty, and they had all the money, and they were, oh God. It was the whole thing with their clothes, that going to the bathroom, like they wouldn't go to the bathroom, they just stop and just take a dump right there, and then there would be people who would have to clean it up for them or something, but there's no, like, they didn't ever wipe or clean themselves. There was even one queen who she kept the same underwear, which I don't know what their underwear garment thing was, but she wore the same one for 8 months. She would never take it off because it was a time of war or something, and she felt like she had to wear it until it started like becoming a part of her skin. Oh man, it was just like, they're so ignorant and so filthy and so disgusting. And when you think about, like, that's a part of, I mean, that was a reality. I mean, there was souls that came and lived those parts. That's funny too, is because you have these people who are like, well, I was a king, I was a queen. Okay. Like, Were you one of those? Um, because those were people, those were souls, and the souls that are around are ones that played all these different parts. So that was a really nasty, disgusting period of time, and it seems that it went off, went on for a long time. I, 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 I think that even when they were over here coming to break down this place, that these people over there were coming, like the tribes were more, I think the tribes were more cleaner and stuff, and these were the people who were sending over their soldiers to come over here, and these people were nasty and disgusting. Maybe they learned to clean and stuff from the tribes, but then they wanted to wipe them out. Oh no, it's weird. The whole thing's weird. There's so much weird stuff in the history, in where the time ends and begins for each group. But I do think that, like, I don't know of I would say, this America had different time periods, different civilizations that lived in different experiences. But there was a period of time where they did come in control, where it does have to do with the church and the crown. And so it does seem like they came over to take America away from these other people, that we're still a part of that period of time. So that they didn't do a total they came in and they tried to destroy certain places that were already here because they didn't want us to question, because it created questions in them, so they didn't want us to question anything, so they had to like take it over. And there's a whole thing too with their occult kind of way of looking at things, because this whole thing about these obelisks and stuff, there's so much stuff where they were always worshiping, but they were always worshiping this dark energy, this control. And so but it seems like that there has been a couple of 100 years, maybe 400 or 500 years, where we are connected to that period of time. But then when they did come over to America, and then they did start killing these people off, and then they needed to control, because the farmers that were escaping from Europe, trying to come over here in search for freedom, then they had to be killing them off, because they were trying to kill them over there because they would just want control. So then they came over here and started trying to kill them off. And then the ones that were more of compliant, the ones that were complicit to doing what they were told, the government would give them these orphan kids. And however they created all the orphans, some of the orphans could have been from people that they killed their families, but they also already had these scientists. And I don't know when these scientists, because it's weird when you think about like these nasty asses, well, if they had scientists, they wouldn't be so fucking filthy and diseased. So at some point, though, which seems a lot more recent, is when they started making these lab babies. Because now they're real into making lab babies, boy. They just want to just totally do that. And they've got labs all over the place where they are, putting things together. And I just started this movie. I didn't finish it. It was just annoying me because they've sold us a fucking story in order to protect the blues, and it really annoys me. But but in this story of the Yahtzee and the stuff that they did, and then in this movie, it's a group of these 5 women who were from one camp together when they were little, who were experimented on, and they grew up and are sterile. They were sterilized as children from the Yahtzees that came in and were doing these surgeries and stuff. Then And then they told, this war, and they were taken and arrested and stuff like that, but they weren't. They were just, given new world, no new places to go. And this one was a guy who was given money and stuff, I guess, because he got to have a restaurant. And I don't even know what all he did till then, but this restaurant is how these women found him. And so these guys, they just carried on. They didn't ever go and be, a lot of them ended up in South America, apparently. So these doctors continued living and going and doing stuff after they did these crimes. So but that whole thing, there's so much more to that whole story. So it's who they were trying to really protect, and who was the fall guy, who was the beard. It's just a whole fucking thing. But but at some point, these scientists, which there's a whole thing about Mustache Man, he was connecting to other beings. So he was getting higher technology. So that could have been through his stuff is where a lot of this science came from. Maybe that's when they started making, the incubator babies or something, was through his stuff that he knew. I don't know, because they have a whole thing about the orphan trains and stuff, but they also created a lot of orphans. So, but there's a whole thing with the Cabbage Patch babies, there's a whole thing with the incubator babies, there's a whole thing with the state fair babies. So there's there's a lot of stuff going on. But they definitely were trying to make a certain type of baby, and they were lacking melanin. That's the whole thing with the blonde hair and blue eye, which American Eagle now is doing all these ads with all these ethnic people of all, some black people, some Chinese people, like all these different ones. But now the Gap has put out their ad to counter the other ad, and it's all ethnic people. So, American Eagle with that just even confirms more what their point was. Because why in the world would you sit there and talk about your genes and your blonde hair and your blue eyes? It's absurd. And then to act like, oh no, she's really talking about her genes. It's like, oh, give me a fucking break. So, anyways, but it's so absurd is because the counter to, because the blue people were offended by that ad and then turned on the people, and so they turned. But then the red, who has to always be the counter to the blue, who has to turn on the blue, then they said, well, that's stupid, it's just gene. Like, their counter is so, oh my god, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ, I swear to God, I cannot wait. I swear to God, I cannot wait for people to see the truth. That is going to be, it's going to be a day to remember, I'll tell you that. Because it's going to stop people in their fucking tracks. But there's all these people still saying it's about to split right now, which I still don't see how it can split before people see the truth. Like, what would be the point of the split? It's like, you go to continue. I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see. Whatever happens, happens. However it goes is how it's going to go. It's always going to go the way it's going to go. And so, to me, it makes no sense to split when the people haven't seen the truth. Because when people see the truth, it's going to create such a opening the mind experience to, that's not an automatic healing. They've got to confront so much. They've got to confront this whole evil side of them that has been exposed. Because even if they don't want to acknowledge it's been exposed to the world, they will not be able to look in the mirror without them seeing themselves. It's just the way it will go. And so all the people are going to have to experience their own ignorance. Like, I don't see the point of the split before people get to experience their own ignorance, because that is the growth or the evolution of the soul. So it makes no sense to me that that world would fall apart or split apart before the people encounter themselves. So there, to me, has to be this part where you encounter yourself, and that, to me, is what the Hopi were talking about with the time of mirrors, the time of reflection, the time to see yourself. Which there's people saying that these something with the Hopi and the split, or something that the world is going to split in two, or something in their prophecy. But their prophecy before that happens is the time of mirrors. So it's like they're skipping that part. So I think the time of mirrors is the time that we're about to have, that Donald is creating as the catalyst, and that in the arrest of all these different people, which, you know, I mean, if he's gonna go fucking town by town, for God's sakes, man, he's gonna take some time. Just sit back and relax. So it's so if the time so if that is the catalyst moment of the seeing what isn't there, and seeing, some people are seeing it as like a hook on, save me kind of thing. I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to live my life the regular way, divisive, judgmental, hateful, worshiping money and stuff like that. I'm hooking into that. And then the other people are like, oh, he's a monster, not seeing what's really going on at all. Then there's these two groups that have to see what is right there. And so that is the lights coming on. So something he does which throws everything off. And even though when anything he does that's shitty just keeps these people holding on. And it's like, because any of that stuff is to try and push people to think for themselves, to not just be, well, whatever he does is perfect. No. You can't just be like, just, oh, whatever he does, it's just the greatest, whatever he does. No, you have to be able to have your own set, your own moral standards, your own set self. So those things pushing, I don't know. I swear it. I don't. That there's a certain group that I still don't know what it's gonna take. So we'll see. The other group I can see clearly what's gonna be the shocking moment when they see the truth behind the person that they hate, and it's going to throw them, because I was there. I had it happen. I couldn't stand the guy. I talked shit on him. I couldn't stand him. And then all of a sudden, I saw. And then when I saw, I felt humility. I felt embarrassed. I felt like, God, I'm such a shitty person. How could I not see this? Like, what in me was driving this? So I experienced that. And so I say that this group is going to experience it. They just went further than, you know, we all had our dropping points, and they've just gone further, and so theirs is going to be a lot harsher. But it's what their soul is here to experience. It has to do with all their other experiences, why they are experiencing the things that they're experiencing, why we all experience the things we experience. It has to do with all of our experiences. So I can see theirs. This other group, I don't know. That, you know, that's a lot of we'll see, because I don't know. You know, I mean, they could very well just rapture out and be gone, because they're going to go experience something somewhere else that's going to change their outlook, because they are not sovereign, they are not independent, they're not independent thinkers, and they're very divisive and hateful and judgmental. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But to me, we are going more into it. And maybe tomorrow, maybe something big will happen tomorrow, because they all think he's going to die. Maybe that image of him dying, or the image of who they believe is the person dying, and the new one that they suddenly see, maybe that is part of it. It's so weird too, because so many of these people, the blue, are all like, oh, we're spiritual, we're the spiritual. And it's like, okay. Just, it's so weird. God. So weird how there's so many of these people who just can't see. It's like weird. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But it's in the play. I mean, things are going. So we're in the movement. It's already going. So however it goes is how it's gonna go, and we'll see. I mean, we're not gonna miss it. So it seems to me that there's a lot of movement in there, and then I don't know. It's like this whole breakdown happens because there's so many people who their reality is gonna have such a huge shift. It's gonna just throw them. There's going to be this huge shift that's going to throw them completely out of whack. But that's their opportunity to face their self, to face their darkness. And it's just so weird because you have all these spiritual leaders who have not faced their darkness, who don't see things clearly, who do worship money. And, you know, if you want their knowledge, and you need to pay them for it and stuff. So it's... you know, like these life coaches and all this, whatever. So, anyways, it's that whole thing playing out. Oh yeah, because once those people see, that is only the start. That is not an automatic, they're healed, they're fixed now because they see. That's only the start. Like, there's so much to go through after that, where they have to see these sides of themselves, and where did that come from? Why was I that way? Where is that coming from? Where that's what starts the healing. But see, that's the part where so many people are not going to be able to go into the next step. It's going to be take the easy way out because they don't want to face themselves. They don't want to try and understand things on a deeper level, which to me is, you know, it's pretty simple. It's not very hard or complex. You just need to connect into your soul, connect into your spirit, and then to me the whole world is open. So I don't know, but a lot of people aren't going to get there. So it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of chaos. But anyways, I still can't wait. I can't wait. Seems kind of cruel and unusual to be waiting and, oh, I can't wait for the chaos, man. But that's what's going to turn everything and to go into a better direction. It's like right now, it's like this fucking whitehead is just getting big. And somebody's got to pop that bitch so things can start clearing up. I'm like, come on, man. So, anyways, that's what we're waiting kind of on, is the world to pop. So things can start drying up and clearing up. The truth can become clear, because it's absurd at this point. And people are so irrational, and it's not based on anything that's real. It's all based on your projection of what you believe. And it's creepy. It's creepy how much these people project stuff on both groups, man. They project so much hate and division, and I just can't wait for. So, anyways, 123. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. So I don't know that number. Oh yeah, because today's the 23rd. I was like, where is that? I know there was a 23 earlier. Yesterday when I stopped too, it was there was a bunch of fives. I don't know if it came out like that, but oh, because it was 555 on the clock. It was 555 on the clock. That's what it was. So, anyways, so let's see. Let's look at my hair thing. Oh, get this. I swear to God. I swear to God. I sometimes things just piss me the fuck off. So I had all of this subscribe and save. They're supposed to be coming from Amazon. It's supposed to be delivered yesterday. That's their whole thing. You receive it on this day. So I'm expecting my big order to be here yesterday. And then I get notified that, no, it's not going to come till next Wednesday. And it's coming by USPS. Are you motherfucking kidding me? So all the shit that I get every time that comes from Amazon, that comes out by the Amazon delivery, rarely do I get anything that comes by USPS. Now I have this whole order of all this shit, and you're going to send it by USPS instead of sending it by the Amazon truck. And now it's not going to get here for a fucking week. And so I was so irritated. And so I get notified that it's coming late. And then I go and look. So I have other things that are coming that I had just ordered that were being delivered today. And so they couldn't get it worked out at all to get this stuff here on time. So then, so the Amazon truck was bringing me stuff, which I even ordered this thing from TikTok, and it came on the Amazon truck. Oh, what the fuck? So so this whole thing that comes on the Amazon truck, and I look at my tracking because I kept going and checking on my order for the subscribe and save thing, and there it went from one Amazon thing, and then it was at this Amazon place. So it's at the Amazon warehouse. There's a truck bringing a whole order out here for me, but you can't put this shit on that order. You can't put it on that same fucking truck. You got to set it over in a whole nother area so it can go through USPS. What the fuck? And then, so I was irritated. And then I had to take my mom to the store. And so I was ranting about like how absurd this fucking shit is. She said, well, I'll just call him. I always have great luck when I call him. Okay, yeah, I'll call him with the hopes of my great luck. But no, went through 3 people. Nobody could do shit. It's like, you cannot just reroute this motherfucking box. You can't just tell them, put it on the truck and send it out. Like, what the fuck is it sitting there waiting for the post office to pick it up? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyways, yeah, that's how it was left. That, no, my stuff's not going to come till next Wednesday. And then I'm going to be leaving less than a week after that. So I'll take the stuff with me, but I'm not going to get much chance to try it out much. It just pisses me off, man. So, because it's got my pumpkin seed oil, which I was really like, oh, and the new mushroom pills. So, anyways, I'm just irritated. It just is absurd. This shit is so fucking absurd. And to me, it's like just the breakdown of everything. Everything that we rely on and use in our society is just a breakdown of it. Everything's just falling apart. It's, when you see how absurd it is, it's just ridiculous. So, anyways, I don't get to try the pumpkin pills till next week sometime. And the mushroom ones, which I just ran out of lion's mane. I still have a little bit of tea left on that. So, and then it's going to be starting a whole bunch of other mushrooms too. So I'm excited to try that one. And then there was some more stuff. Oh, I swear I have to massage my scalp all the time. It always feels tight and sore. And then, so anyways, but that's the situation on the hair, because I might as well keep up with, if there is a big surge in hair growth, then we'll know what it comes from, because so far it's not coming from the fucking any of the shit I got so far. So then my tooth, let's look at that thing. I did start using the SP6 again on the toothpaste, and so, and it still is sore, still only sore, but anyways, I heard right on that. So, and then today is Saturday, which I don't know how much stuff will go down on the weekends. Oh yeah, this is the kind of weird shit, I swear to God. Is this was a blue spiritual person, and which I don't consider myself any. I'm my own individual. I'll sit back and I watch what's going on here and there and everywhere, but I'm not, subscribed to this direction. So a blue spiritual person, which a lot of them consider themselves blue, who are spiritual. And then, so she said, as somebody who recognizes patterns. Okay, Okay. Because there's other people out here who recognize patterns, and we don't see the same ones as you. So she recognizes patterns, and what she sees is that they are trying to get rid of Donald. He's such a fucking nightmare. So they're trying to get rid of Donald. And what she has seen in the patterns, that they were going to replace him with JD. So JD was being set up to replace Donald. But then JD showed up somewhere with some other Pete, something, I don't know. He showed up somewhere and he was being booed. So, and heckled and taunted as they're walking through. And so he goes up now, and she's showing all this heckling and taunting and stuff, which is more blue people. And then, so because of that, they are not going to put JD in now. And they're going to just remove all of them. So whoever these people are, I don't know. Who, the fellers that rock, the child of Roth, like who the fuck are you talking about is going to replace him? The United Nations, those people who have their own little fucking mad, like who are you talking about, Chuck? And your pattern recognition of all things. And so, but they're trying to remove Donald because he's so evil. He's such an evil person that they've got to get rid of him. And so all of this whole thing, and they are actively trying to do that in her pattern recognition. It's like, well, I don't know what fucking pattern. So you see more blue people hollering, and so you think in a pattern that, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. It's so weird how weirdly they see him. Like, I don't know, because I don't watch their media. I don't listen to their bullshit. So I don't know what it is that they think that they see, like what they're being pushed to believe. But yeah, what I see is somebody who is taking down all of these people who are corrupted and have been controlling us for a long motherfucking time. They're all a bunch of fucking sold out gangsters, and he's taking them down systematically, one by one, exposing the corruption and the drive that has been funding it all. All has to do with the trade of the things that they call humans, and in all different aspects of the entire thing. I just saw this one lady saying that she believes that they are using, because there's a new show that's got people all, the institution, so, and it has thing about, that they've been always looking, for people, the kids and stuff, of that had any kind of gifts, which I know that, and they were getting them, and then when they could get them, they would do whatever, because they want to control their gifts or turn them off, whatever it is, because and the program with the gate, then they did a lot of turning people off. But then there's certain ones, like Corey Good had said, like if you had abilities of telepathy and stuff, that they would take you and use you. So I just feel like I just know that they were looking for us, and and they got some of the people, but they had to get some of the people so that we would know. So everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. But the looking glass thing is they use the looking glass all the time. It was like, I don't know. I don't think that they are taking children and feeding it to the looking glass to make the looking glass work. There's a whole thing about they're taking kids and feeding them to the thing for knowledge. But to me, it has more to do with the stealing the consciousness, and the kids, they aren't stealing the consciousness. They're consuming it, because it is more of a like little kids are more of a free and loving, and so then they terrorize them, build up the adrenaline, and then they consume it, because then it gives them this feeling of, I don't know, it supposedly makes them younger, makes them feel more alive. I don't know. It's a whole weird fucking thing. But I do think that they do that. But if they are taking children and then putting them into a computer to get the computer to recognize what humans would do in this case or that case, you would need an adult. Like, a kid hasn't lived long. I mean, even though a kid has lived a lot of different lives, in this period of time, for a computer to recognize what we're going to do next, you would need more and more people's consciousness, which I know that they've been stealing consciousness. Like, so, I don't know. There's so many people, it's like, but some of the things I'll hear people say, it's like, it's based so much on fear. I can't even fucking believe the amount of videos that people put out now, nonstop. Every single person is not what they're born. Like, Jackie Onassis, she's a man. Kirk Cameron is a woman. It's like, every single person that they go, well, no, look at this, every single one. And to me, it's like, it's reached a point of paranoia. It's like, I don't know. And you've got such a strict structure on what you're basing it on. Like, I don't know that my clavicle and my gait and my bone structure are all, like, female. Like, I don't know. I find it so strange, because there's so many things that they'll sit there and say, and then I'll think, well, if they were breaking me down, they would sit there and say I was a man, and I was not a man. I'm not a man. I'm a woman. And so I think these people have lost their minds. They've just, it's weird. There's so many people that are just so caught up in fear, and they just are creating it. It's like they're creating this fucking, just, it is what it is. It is what it is. Some people are gender swapping, and some of it has to do with all different things, you know. Some of it has to do with, I mean, we're seeing celebrities do it to their own kids. So, I don't know. I don't think every single motherfucking person is the opposite. Every single couple is the opposite of what they are. I do think that there's a lot of them in politics where, you know, like, I do think that George Sr.'s wife, I always thought she looked like a fella. I didn't ever think she looked like a woman. I thought Michelle was a woman until, you know, I was kind of tripped out when I saw how huge she was. But then when I started seeing all the videos of her dancing and her, you know, business swinging, then it was like, oh. And then you start seeing what Michael looked like, his high school sweetheart, or no, his college crush, whatever, his longtime partner, look like. And it's like, that's Michelle. Like, what? And then he goes up and he says stuff. So I don't know, but I don't think every single person out there is the opposite of what they are. And I don't think that I think they're going too much into, like, the clavicle and the hip shape and stuff like that. I mean, there's guys out there who have more womanly shape. There's women out there who have more manly shape. It's just like you're getting your parts from both parents. So you get a little bit of your dad and a little bit of your mom. So anyways, I don't know. It's like these people, it's just like this world is getting crazier and crazier. I swear to God. And so it has to hit into a wall. It has to. It's going to go splat right into the wall and then bounce back. So it's got to be, like, we're got to be getting close. I'm just so hopeful now with all these arrests and stuff of these big names and things going down and stuff, that this is actually going to be the thing that's going to flip everything right side up. I hope, because it is wacky. And the energy behind it, like, you can just feel the energy on the planet. It's whacked out, man. Everything's wacky. I think I'm gonna make cookies. I'm gonna go make some cookies. And anyways, that's how we're gonna just stop here. Is I just carry on about how fucking wacky this shit is and how whacked out all these people seem. So, I mean, because it's people who are, I mean, I've seen these people, oh, I'm a psychic, I'm a liberal psychic, and I'm blah, 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 and Donald's about to, and they're all in on this thing that tomorrow he's keels over from a heart attack. It's like, maybe y'all all keel over from a heart attack when you all of a sudden see the truth. I don't know, but I don't think he's gonna keel over. I don't think so. So, anyways, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Surely, surely. Yeah, we'll see, surely. So, anyways, until we do see, I would just say focus on learning how to love yourself. Learn how to love everybody because it could be a challenge. And focus on how to have the day you want because, again, it could be a challenge, especially in the nowadays. So, anyways, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. We'll see what happens. See what happens today and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Well, we won't know so much we want to talk about tomorrow. But anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.